If you are walking through divorce, betrayal, parental alienation, financial collapse, or the emotional wreckage of loving a narcissistic woman, you probably feel like you failed. Failed as a husband, or failed as a father, or failed as a man. And today, I want to dismantle that lie, because what you are calling failure actually be the beginning of your advantage. Stay with me, because this shift, if you actually absorb it, could change how you see your entire story.
Welcome to the Narc Free Man Podcast.
Most men who come to this channel are not lazy, they are not weak, they are not reckless. They tried, they endured, they forgave, they gave second chances, they swallowed pride, they tried to lead with patience. And when the relationship still collapsed, when the divorce happened, when the kids were used as leverage, they didn't say, "She failed." They said, "I failed." That's what good men do. They internalize responsibility. But here's the problem. Responsibility is strength. Self-condemnation is not. Napoleon Hill once said, "Within every adversity is the seed of an equal or greater opportunity or advantage." Within every adversity, not after it disappears, not when it feels good, not when it's convenient. Within it, right now, inside the wreckage, inside the pain, inside the humiliation, there is a seed. And most men miss it because they are too busy labeling themselves as failures. Napoleon Hill also said, "The way to deal with temporary failure is to seek within each setback for the valuable lessons that it contains." Temporary failure, not permanent failure, temporary. But here's what narcissistic relationships do. They don't just hurt you, they distort your identity. You didn't just go through a divorce. You started believing, "I'm bad at choosing," or "I'm not strong enough," or "I should have seen it sooner," or "I wasted 20 years. Listen carefully. An event happened, but you turned it into a label. And that's where men get stuck. Zig Ziglar once said that failure is an event, not a person. Let that land. Failure is an event, not a person. You are not your divorce. You are not your custody battle. You are not your trauma bond. You are not your financial loss. And you are not your mistakes. You are a man who experienced events. That's very different. Thomas Edison tried over 5,000 experiments before successfully inventing the light bulb. Think about that. 5,000. Most people would quit after 5. When someone asked him how it felt to fail 5,000 times, he said, "I have not failed at all. I have successfully identified 5,000 ways that will not work. That just puts me 5,000 ways closer to the way that will." Now that's a different lens. He didn't say, "I'm incompetent, I'm stupid, or I should give up." He reframed the experiment. Now apply that to your relationship history. What if that marriage wasn't proof you are broken? What if it was data? What if every red flag you ignored, every boundary you failed to enforce, every time you over-explained, every time you tolerated disrespect was data? You didn't fail. You gathered 5,000 ways that do not work. And now you are 5,000 ways closer to what does. That's not failure, that's refinement. Now here's why some men stay stuck after divorce. Here's where this gets dangerous. Some men leave the relationship, but they never leave the identity of failure. They build businesses from shame. They hit the gym from anger. They date from revenge. But internally, they still think, man, I blew it. And because they believe that, they repeat the pattern. Because if you believe you are broken, you'll accept broken treatment. If you believe you failed, you'll overcompensate next time. That's why the mindset shift matters. You must see your past as education, not condemnation. Let's talk about the seed inside the adversity. So what's the seed? Inside every toxic relationship is a gift you didn't ask for. Clarity. You now know what manipulation feels like, what gaslighting sounds like, what self-erasure costs, what conditional affection does to your nervous system. You know what red flags feel like in your body. You know what walking on eggshells feels like. And that awareness is power. Most men don't wake up until their 50s. You are waking up now. That's not failure, that's advancement. Temporary failure says, this didn't work. Permanent identity says, I don't work. And that difference determines your next decade. Temporary failure says, that relationship was wrong. Permanent identity says, I attract wrong. Temporary failure says, I made mistakes. Permanent identity says, I am a mistake. See the difference? One leads to growth. The other leads to paralysis. So what do you do with this shift? What do you do now? Well, 3 things I want to share with you. First, stop rewriting your story as defeat. Rewrite it as education. Second, extract the lessons. What boundaries did you avoid? Or what instincts did you ignore? And what patterns did you rationalize? That's your 5,000 experiments. Third, build forward, not backward. Don't build from revenge. Build from clarity. You don't need to prove anything to her. You need to build something for you. Let's talk about the man you are becoming. Right now, you probably feel like the man who failed, but 5 years from now, if you do this work, you'll see this as the moment that refined you. Pain is tuition. You either waste it or you graduate from it. And the men who graduate are the ones who stop calling themselves failures. They call themselves students. If this episode hit something inside you, if you have been quietly carrying the weight of I failed, I want you to do something. Stop calling it failure. Start calling it data. Start calling it growth. Start calling it refinement. And if you need deeper clarity on how narcissistic dynamics distort your identity and how to rebuild from strength, that's exactly why I wrote my book, The Narcissistic Wife. It's not just about her behavior, it's about reclaiming yours. You can grab a copy on Amazon or Audible. Read it slowly, extract the lessons from it, then build the next chapter, Narc Free. Because you are not a failure. You are a man in the middle of becoming. And that is a powerful place to stand.